Hey there, superstar. In this video, we're going to dive into retention and how to retain more of your clients in your group coaching community. Let's go. Not only is retention the most important thing that you can master in group coaching, because it means that you're doing a good job and that clients want to stick around, but it's also one of the biggest challenges that coaches that are doing group programs face. So if you can master this, you pretty much have nailed the holy grail of group coaching. So let's be clear, group coaching has a ton of benefits. It's leveraged, it's scalable, it creates feelings of belonging and community, so it's fulfilling, it's fun, you can have great experiences together. It's got so many things going for it. And it's also got certain unique challenges that can make it more difficult than one-on-one coaching. That said, I do absolutely believe that it's worth it. Not just because financially it can be so much more prosperous to be doing group coaching, but also from a personal development perspective. It forces you to step into leadership in a whole new way, and that is huge for our personal development. I would say that mastering the art of leading my group coaching program over the last 9 years has been one of the most challenging, difficult, even uncomfortable things that I've ever done in my business. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I definitely don't want to go back and do it all over again, but I did it. And I'm glad I did, because it made me a different person and really a much better coach. And it continues to make me a much better coach. So I highly recommend it, highly encourage it. And if you're right now in the doldrums because you're like, my program's terrible, it's so hard, it's so challenging, stick it out, watch this video, because I'm hoping that I give you something you can hang on to here. So the very first thing about mastering retention in a group coaching program is that, well, foundationally, let me just say, this might take a little time to figure out, because there's a lot that a group coaching program needs to last and in order to be sticky and for people to stay. My turnaround process from where it was at the worst that it was to where I felt like, oh my God, my head is finally above water, I can do this, it was probably 2 to 3 years. Now, I'm hoping that this video shaves some time off of your journey. And I will say it's not an overnight fix, although some of these things can have an impact right away. The first is that you only have aligned people in the group. Now, this is a function of both bringing in the right people and letting go of the wrong fit people. Much more so than in one-on-one coaching, having one bad fit client in a group program can really poison the whole group. You know how they say one bad apple spoils the bunch? That is absolutely true in a group coaching model. If you have one person who's very negative or toxic in any way, it spreads, because they often like to gossip and they like to rile people up and they like to create drama. So if you are clear that there are 1 or 2 people in your program that are not aligned, it's time to let them go. It's time to have a truth-telling conversation. You don't even have to, go into it all. If you're sure that they're a wrong fit and you don't want to create drama, you can just let them go, right? And I invite you to consider that as their coach, you potentially owe them the responsibility of helping them by being a truth teller for them. But that's up to you. Ultimately, the goal is to move them on out and to start to bring in only people who are right fits. Now, that's a little bit beyond the scope of this video to tell you exactly how to do that, but I have a lot of videos, some of which I even recorded today, on how to enroll right fit, best fit clients into your group coaching program. So I invite you to go check out some of those videos and go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel so that you'll get notified about future videos that I do. So the letting go and then bringing in aligned people. That will by itself, if you did nothing else besides align who's in your group, you're going to see a huge difference in your program. But that's not all you can do. The next thing you want to do is to look at your standards, boundaries, and agreements with clients. Are clients being told by you when they enroll what's expected of them? Early days, when I was trying to fill my program, I'm not proud of this, but I'm going to share it with you like it is, because that's my promise to you always here, is to be transparent and open and vulnerable. Early days in my coaching program, I was less concerned with enrolling right fit clients and more concerned with enrolling clients. I wanted to fill my program. I wanted to hit my numbers. I wanted to have high conversion rates. And sometimes I sacrificed alignment in order to get those things. And another thing I sacrificed was setting good and proper expectations. If somebody, let's say, was concerned, oh, this looks like it's going to be a lot of work and take a lot of time, I might play that down and be like, no, it's not so much, or, try to assuage their concerns so that they'd say yes. Now I do the opposite. Now I'm like, yeah, it is a lot of work and it is going to take some time, and you need to be committed to that, because that's what's going to make this program work. So now I hold a much higher standard and I set really clear expectations with people, to the point that some of our expectations are written onto their agreement when they enroll. So the expectation that they're going to be on our weekly call, the expectation that if they miss it, they're going to watch a recording, etc. Raising those standards and creating proper agreements around workload and show up and commitment level and all that. Another thing to look at is, do you have a culture of personal accountability? A lot of group coaching programs, mine in the early days included, have a bit of a culture, like a victim culture sometimes. And by the way, I have a whole video about victim, hero, villain triad, this dynamic that I'm going to talk about. But briefly, I'm just going to say that a lot of coaches get into this hero mode where they want to save people and fix people and help people. They approach clients as if the clients were victims and they're some sort of hero. It's a really terrible dynamic, but it's very common in the guru, leadership, coaching type of space. You want to look at, does your group have a culture of personal accountability? Are your clients clear that their outcomes are based on their inputs and are their responsibility? Or are they looking to you to create outcomes for them? Are they blaming you when things don't go their way, or they're blaming others? Do you have a culture of empowered creators in your group? Or do you have a culture of people who are kind of whining and complaining and blaming and shaming everybody else? And listen, again, I've been there, I've done that. I didn't do it on purpose, but I wasn't aware. So instead, you want to have a culture where it's very clear that people are responsible for their own outcomes. And it takes something to be the kind of leader that holds that standard. Which brings me to the next thing that you can do in order to create better retention in your group program, and that is for you to focus on your own leadership and take full accountability for everything that happens in your group. For you to be a model of empowered leadership, embodied leadership, someone who walks their talk. Can your clients look at you and say, there's someone who's doing what they say they're going to do and who's living what they're promising me? Another really important thing that you can look at in your own group is whether you have, generally speaking, people are in a scarcity mindset or in an abundance mindset. Some indicators that you have a lot of people in scarcity is if they're very needy and they're trying to book a lot of time with you, or they're worried if new people come into their group that there won't be enough for them, if they're kind of competing with each other, comparing themselves with each other, as if there maybe weren't enough to go around. So these are the kind of behaviors that can indicate, oh, you've got some scarcity thinking going on, and you want to lead people toward a more abundant mindset. And there's lots of different ways to do that. It's really beyond the scope of this video, but as a coach yourself, explore how can you instill more abundance mindset in your culture. Another thing you might want to consider is bringing in this concept that I call the Hall of Mirrors. The Hall of Mirrors is the idea that anybody in the culture can be a model for anybody else in the culture. Meaning, instead of getting into a mindset where, oh, she's working with, the coach is working with that person, so it's not my turn, I don't need to pay attention, right? Like, or this mindset that you don't get a value, or that people don't get value from watching somebody else get coached. That's pretty common in group programs, that people think, oh, it's not really valuable to watch somebody else get coached. But instead, bring in the concept of the Hall of Mirrors, which is a belief system whereby you install this idea that everybody has wisdom for everybody, that there's medicine in every time you work with somebody, and that everybody else is witnessing that process. And that takes something to install in a culture, but it's very, very valuable when you do it. And part of it too is bringing people in who already have that as a baseline. Finally, the last thing that I'll say, it's not the only thing, but the last thing I'll say in this video is that in order to build long-term clients, one of the best things you can do is to create a path to leadership, meaning a way for people to step into contribution in your collective rather than everybody staying at the same level forever. One way I did that is in my group, when people graduate from their first year, they move into an enhanced program. It's the same group, but it's an enhanced program called Leadership Cabinet. And that's a 2-year. And once they complete the 2-year, they move into a more enhanced one called Board of Advisors. So this is a way that people start to now bring their gifts more deeply into the culture. And that really makes people excited and makes them want to stay. So if you're looking for more ideas for how to build and grow your group coaching program, your mastermind group, your retreats business, I'd love to connect. You can find out more at superstaractivator.com/go. I look forward to meeting you.